Well, hello there, and welcome to the first stream on this channel. I'm going to rant a little bit about the Panasonic S5, which I just bought. And it's not going to be anything advanced. I'm just going to speak a little bit about my impression of this camera and how I feel it may be like a good complement to the cameras I already have. So without further ado, I think that I'm going to start. I have 2 viewers, so I'm very thankful for that. Let's just go into the presentation and or my rant, I'd say. And a couple of things that I want to say before we start is that this isn't a review or anything like that. It's just a way for me to experiment a little bit with live streaming, and yeah, I think it's really fun. But anyway, we need to check out the S5 and a little bit about this camera and what it's about, really. I mean, I want to go through a bit of the specifications here because maybe you don't know what this camera is about. So it's a full frame camera, it's a mirrorless camera. That's the modern way of making cameras. If you're not familiar with mirrorless cameras, it's essentially like an old DSLR with new technology. They replaced the mirrors in the viewfinder to get the picture from the lens through the camera to the viewfinder. And it's, they are quite capable today. I've got a cat in here just climbing on everything. Let's just hope that she doesn't tear one of my cameras down. So the camera, this S5 is capable of recording internal 10-bit 4K 422 in 25p, which is amazing. I've tried recording with this codec and it's superb. I'm really into the image this camera can produce. And one of the reasons why maybe many of the people buy this camera is this 12-bit 5.9K ProRes RAW external recording. I'm just going to jump out here a bit. This is like one of the biggest selling points of this camera today, I think, for people who want the highest quality content they can produce. It's important for people who maybe do a lot of corporate stuff, maybe interviews, maybe some sort of documentary stuff. It can be a really powerful tool, but you need to have in mind that the file size that it produces. I tried this yesterday actually to record onto my Nino 5, and 1 minute of record time on this camera with 12 bits ProRes RAW in 6K or 5.9K did end up at 8.62 gigabytes. So just figure like doing an interview on, say, an hour. It's it's very big file sizes. So keep that in mind if you buy this camera just for that reason. They're quite big, the files. Dual native ISO, nothing new in that way, but it's a really nice feature to have on a camera in this price category. It is sub 2,000 euros, and I bought this kit for actually 1,800 euros, and that contains the 20 to 60 3.5 to 5.6 aperture, the lens, and the camera itself. And you got a pair of really awesome headphones, Panasonic headphones. How cool is that? Maybe not the main reason why I got the camera, but I think that for 1,800 euros, this is a really nice package. I paid way more for my Fuji XT4, and the cameras are quite similar actually. Moving on, 24.2 megapixels. This is something for the photographers out there. This is quite standard today on cameras, I think. I mean, if you're producing images for something like social media and stuff like the internet, websites and stuff like that, this is more than enough for you, I think. But if you're blowing up images like really big sizes, prints and stuff, maybe consider something like the S1 instead. Might be a better camera for that use. And here's a big thing. It's got the same sensor as the S1H. If you're not familiar with the S1H, it's their flagship camera from the S line, their full frame line, and it's a very capable camera. It's Netflix approved, which makes this camera very interesting. It doesn't have the same processor, which is a shame, but they wouldn't be able to sell this camera for this price if it had the same processor. But still, nevertheless, it's a very good camera. Moving on, we got the Dual IS2, the Image Stabilization 2, which can produce up to 6.5 stops on this camera with the right lens. This is interesting because Panasonic is already known for their great image stabilization. Even without the extra stop from a stabilized lens, I think that this camera produces more than enough stable footage to use the IBIS with. And yeah, it's much better than my Fuji XT4, but it's a little bit worse than my GH5, which may not come as a surprise. Well, the drawbacks. Are there any drawbacks? I hope not, since I bought this camera. Well, it is said online, is it really a full-frame GH5? And this is a point that, honestly, it kind of sold this camera for me, that it would be a full-frame equivalent to the GH5, but in some ways it is, and in some way it really isn't. And I think that you need to keep in mind with this camera that it is a really cheap camera. It is their lowest tier in the full-frame lineup, and the GH5 was at least one of the more expensive ones in the Micro Four Third lineup of cameras, which makes them not really equivalent to each other. What you need to keep in mind is that the internal recording options on the GH5, you can record up to 400 megabits all intra 4K 422 10 bits on the GH5, and you can record the same on this one, but you cannot record 400 megabits or all intra. It's limited to 150 megabits, which isn't bad at all. It's a good codec, and together with something like the Atomos Ninja, it's a really good fit, I think. So, one of the biggest drawbacks of this camera is the 50p crop. This camera produces a crop which is equivalent to something like the APS-C or Super 35 type sensor. This can be a problem in some cases where when it actually crops down to this size on the image, it does actually, if you pretend like you have this sensor here, it does actually crop down to the size of an APS-C sensor, and that means that it's going to produce less or more noise in low light situations. It's not as capable, and then it's not downsampling from the full-size sensor as it is in the 25p mode. So it's a drawback, obviously, but it may not be for some people. I'm taking a bit of a gamble here, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be a drawback for me. Then we got another one, a really funny one. This is not something that Panasonic is known for, but the mini HDMI ports. Panasonic, why did you do this? Why do you have to torment me like this? It was so good on the GH5, but now you you successfully stoop down to the level of, Fujifilm, basically. This isn't okay, and I'm really disappointed that this camera has a mini HDMI. It really limits the way that you can work with this camera in professional environments, and I think that you need to be careful, and you need to use something like tightener for the mini HDMI connector or cable, or maybe something like the adapter from SmallRig from mini HDMI to HDMI. Yeah, might not be a big problem for everyone, but if you're going to record much to like a Ninja 5, it's going to be a problem. So, oh, the record limits. God damn it. This is another good reason not to buy this camera. Why am I constantly like bashing on this camera? You say, you just bought this camera. Well, good question, but the record limit is actually a problem in some cases. It isn't for me, since I have the Atomos Ninja, and the way I plan to use this camera is that I'm going to place the Ninja on this camera, and then I'm going to use the GH5 as a B cam for this S5. So in my case, it isn't so much. You can still record unlimited in 8-bit mode, but sometimes you need to capture it in 10-bit, so it really depends on what you're doing. So keep that in mind if you're going to buy this camera. Oh, lens selection, another fun thing to discuss regarding this camera. I don't see this as a problem per se. We got something called the L-mount Alliance. It sounds like World of Warcraft or something like that, a game. It's a funny name, but what it essentially means is that Panasonic, Leica and Sigma has gone together and formed this alliance, which they are producing lenses for the L-mount, which this camera has. And for a company the size of Sigma to do something like this really shows that they have faith in something like the L-mount, and it's really important going forward and trying to see the future of this system. When it started, it was like a couple of lenses and people were really mad. I can understand that. But today we got very nice lenses in the setup, and I think that Panasonic actually released all of their lenses, prime lenses, in this series now, which is their cheaper series. But they have a really nice concept with that. They have an idea that you're going to use the same filter size, and it's going to be the same size throughout all the lenses, which can make this system a really powerful system for run and gun situations. The lenses are going to be the same size and about the same weight, and they're going to have the same filter thread throughout the lineup, and very good quality of the lenses, obviously. So it makes for a really nice first primes for this system to have. I think that the prices are going to be, or the prices are actually, I think they've released all of the lenses now, but the prices range from 500 to 1,000 euros depending on which lens you get. Autofocus, well, it just keeps on coming, doesn't it? I mean, I bought a camera that's perfectly useless, haven't I? Well, it isn't as useless as the internet may be telling you. I've experimented with it a little bit, and they've got some nice features on this camera. I'm not going to mention every one, but I think that their autofocus system is much better than the GH5. I tried to set up this stream with the GH5 in tracking mode, in this autofocus autofocus mode, and it was a disaster. Honestly, it was like nothing was in focus, nothing was good to watch. But now with the S5, I've noticed that the autofocus is slow, but it isn't really bad. Honestly, it isn't bad. So I think that we can live with the autofocus on the S5 as long as you're not depending on every professional situation to be with autofocus, which I don't. When I'm behind the camera, I often tend to use manual focus anyway, so it's not a big problem for me and my style of shooting. I'm not sure if I had anything else. Yeah, I had something like this going. I'm not sure if I'm going to discuss this in length, but since the XT4 was my previous go-to camera, my previous #1 camera, I think that it could be useful for some of you watching, if there's someone watching, to know a little bit about this. The Fuji XT4 is obviously a very capable camera, and how does it pair up with the S5? Well, to begin with, it is an APS-C camera. So it may sound like it's a big deal, but it really isn't. I tried some very simple tests here at home, and from what I can see, at the same aperture, this is obviously depending on the lenses too, but at the same aperture from this lens and from Fuji's 16-55 f2.8, stopped down to 3.6, I really couldn't see any difference in the ISO performance between these cameras, which means that the circuit in the XT4 is really good, or the circuit in the S5 is really bad. Nevertheless, both of these cameras do really well in low light situations. Then we got an interesting one, it's the crop factor. Well, this can be very irritating for people, but both of these cameras do have a crop factor essentially, but I have to be honest, the first time I used the XT4, or maybe first couple of months, I didn't even notice the crop on the XT4. It was so insignificant maybe the word, that I didn't notice when it punched in 1.18 times crop. On the other hand, the S5, it's really there, the crop is really there. Like, you can notice it's quite bad. If you're using like this lens over here, if you're using this lens at the 20mm focal length, and you engage the 50p mode, you're going to get a 30mm instead of 20mm. So it's important to know that the crop is there, and it's very apparent. Both of these have dual native ISO, which is great, micro HDMI, which is not so great. This is a part where the XT4 may be more interesting for photographers. Looking at the photography aspect, you got 26 megapixels against 24. It's not that big of a difference, but from the photos I've tested so far, I've noticed that the XT4 actually produces quite much more nice pictures, images, according to my eyes, at least. Trying to grade them, I was happy with the S5, absolutely, but in my eyes, the XT4 is a far superior photography camera. You also got the external recording options up to 5.9K ProRes RAW in the S5, while on the Fuji XT4, if you connect something like the Linear 5, you can only get 4K DCI ProRes, for example. So there's something to be considered. And then also on the photography side, if you're into some sort of sport event photography, maybe consider the Fuji XT4 instead of the S5, since it's capable of doing these really fast bursts photography-wise. But also I noticed with the XT4 that it does struggle when it comes to autofocus, so maybe not to consider that one anyway. So I've talked a lot of the negatives about this camera, but is there really anything positive about the S5? Well, I certainly hope so, because I bought it. So we got some pros. Okay, it is full frame. Maybe it's not better in low light than the XT4, but damn, it does produce better bokeh. And I'm not even using a fast lens with this system yet. I'm thinking of buying the 50mm f1.8, which will produce very creamy backgrounds. So that's a good thing. A low light performance, essentially the same as the XT4, I'd say. So that's a good thing, much better than the GH5. But here's one thing where this camera obviously differentiates itself from the cameras that I have, at least both the GH5 and the Fuji XT4, the image quality. I was out recording today in Vlog. This has the full Vlog option, which was insane to grade. It was so pleasant seeing the image from this camera. I was seriously blown away by the image quality coming out of this camera. The Fuji XT4 is still a great camera, but I could see the difference here. It was really, really film-like. The video side and the highlight roll-off in Vlog, oh my god. This feature alone makes this camera worth buying, if you ask me. Then we got a red recording bar. Well, what's that, you say? Well, I'm going to show you. The red recording bar is something that's asked frequently upon when scouring the internet for feedback and stuff they hate about cameras. Well, this is a thing that I really like about this camera. Maybe I can go a little bit towards the camera here. If I push record, then you can see on the edge of the frame here, you can see a little red line going through all of the frame here on the display. What this really means in practice is that you can really see when you're recording, and you're not going to be surprised when you're out doing a work for a client or something like that. It's a very powerful feature, and I think that this is something that all the camera companies should implement on the cameras. It's such an easy feature in one way. I'm not a programmer, so I can't say that it's easy, but it's easy in the terms of the camera world, I suppose. So this is a big one, I think. What else do we have? Well, the usability. This is something what I really like about the Panasonic cameras. I can say that the couple of brands I've been using, I really think that Panasonic is one of the brands that take care of their followers, take care of their users, in the way that they produce things that is actually quite thought out. all the button placements on the camera is very nice to use. I think that all the buttons that's on this camera do have their place in the way that they're easy accessible, and you get the features of the camera very easy accessible. And this is something that they've clearly brought on from the previous generations of full frame cameras, but also the GH series. And I really like this about the Panasonic cameras in general. They really think about how you're going to use the camera, and it feels very natural from almost the get-go, I'd say. And something like the primes that they recently released, it's like they produce something that's supposed to be the same weight, same size, same filter thread size. It's really thought out, man. You should consider buying a Lumix if you're into, or not into, if you're working as a videographer or really like to produce videos frequently. I think that this helps very much. It may not be the fastest AF system on the planet, but it's got really good usability. So that's a good thing, I think. IBIS, obviously, it's a Panasonic camera. What would you expect except very good IBIS? Moving on to the L-mount system, this is something that can be watched on as a very negative or very positive about this camera. We are going to see in the future more lenses for this system, like this 20 to 60. This isn't by any means a very high-end lens, but the way that these lenses work with these cameras is going to be a very strong reason to buy into these systems. And I, for one, really like the Sigma lenses. I've been using the 18 to 35 on the GH5, which I'm using right now. It's like my go-to lens for everything. It's tack sharp, it's really versatile, and got a very low aperture setting. So it's useful for most situations like documentary stuff, run and gun, wedding, basically everything, I think. And well, we got one last point before I'm probably going to end this little stream and perhaps check out if anyone writes anything in the chat. It's got the same sensor as the S1H. For someone not knowing what the S1H is, that may sound like something very like why would that matter in any case? Well, it matters because the S1H is their top of the line full frame camera, and it's Netflix approved, which means in that my cat wants out. She's scraping the door here. First she wants in, now she wants out. She's just going to have to wait until I'm finished talking to you guys. Well, same sensor as the S1H. It matters because the S1H is Netflix approved, and it's a really, really good sensor. It doesn't inherit the same processor, which is a shame, but at the same time, we do have to accept that a camera in this price range cannot be the same as a €4,500 camera. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I guess that's my first impressions of this lens and everything. I'm just going to check here if there's anything written in the chat, if anyone's watching. I've got 3 watching. Is it a chat? Is anyone chatting? No one is chatting. Well, that's fine. I've got 3 likes. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I'm just thankful that you guys watched. Oh, look, we got some chat here. Wow, congrats. So you did not switch to Sony? No, I did not switch to Sony, Harry. Thank you for watching, Harry. Harry, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, I did not choose Sony, and I'm quite satisfied with not going Sony way. Panasonic has been in my heart for a while now, and I'm not regretting this buy. It's a really, really good camera, and hopefully I can show you some of the image quality and the images this camera can produce on my channel coming up. Let's see here. Sony would have been cool. Yeah, Henka, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Sony would have been great. I know that you use Sony, and that would have been great actually. I'm not closing the door on Sony. I'm not doing anything like that, but I really think that Panasonic is the camera for me. The biggest points with the Panasonic cameras is like the IBIS and the image quality. There's like no other camera can come even close to these cameras in this perspective, and those are the things that's the most important to me. Even the A7S3 wouldn't be a good camera for me in the terms of the lack of IBIS. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't choose Sony this time. What's 422? Well, 422 is a way for colors to be organized on the sensor, and the higher this number is, you can get up to 444, which is very, very high quality. It reduces banding in images. It's when a video is very harshly color graded or compressed, you can see these lines in the image, which makes the lower the color depth is, then you can see this banding appear. It's a way for the camera to produce a nicer image, essentially. Oh, you really okay, sorry. You already found it. Yeah, cats are awesome. Thank you for watching, Henka. That's really nice. Looking forward to seeing a lot of videos from you. Thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciated that you tuned in. I'm really excited that at least I got a couple of viewers at least. So I'm super excited about that. It's great. It's great. Yeah, my brother is asking if Museibyrån 2 is coming out, and no, it's not. At least not for now. It was a fun project to do, but I don't think that it's coming out any day soon. Thank you, Henka. This live stream has been super interesting. Thanks for sharing. Thank you so much for watching. I was super impressed by having now. By the end of the stream, I'm having five viewers. That's awesome. That's really awesome, actually. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to have like anyone watching, so I'm really happy for that. And yeah, this was just for you guys tuning in right now. This was basically a very brief explanation of my new acquirement, the S5, the Panasonic S5. Such a good camera. We're going to see a lot more from this camera in the future. So yeah, how long have I been streaming for? I have no idea. Like 35 minutes. You guys must be exhausted watching me talk. So I'm going to end the video or the stream here. I thank you so much for tuning in. I really enjoyed doing this live stream, and hopefully I can do a couple of more in the future. I really like this format. I can edit the videos on the fly, and I can get some questions directly from my viewers. And yeah, I'm just really thankful. Thank you so much, guys. Oh no. Oh no, there's not a Museibyrån 2 coming out. Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. We'll keep that one until next time. Oh! Monolith, I'm sorry for butchering the name, maybe, but Monolith. You have a G9 and you love it. You love the what? Maybe love the G9. Yeah, I've heard so much good about the G9. It's a really good camera. In some cases it's even better than the GH5. So yeah, if you're rocking the G9, just continue down that path. The Micro Four Thirds system is like super good, especially for video. So if that's your thing, well, just keep on rocking, man or lady. Just that's a great system to have. Oh, what camera is on which angle? Well, that is the GH5 paired with the 18-35 from Sigma, and this one is the Fuji XT4. That's my product camera for this live stream, and I think I managed to actually pair the colors quite good. It was really nice. So yeah, not much more to say about that, but yeah, I was thinking about using the S5 too, but it's fun to show the product in real life too. Great stream, love your videos. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm just so glad that you guys are watching. It's really nice. What are you using for changing the camera angles? Well, I'm using the 8M Mini ISO Pro or 8M Mini Pro ISO. I can't remember the name of that. Maybe I can do like this, actually. I'm not going to be lazy here, Henka. I'm here to work. So I'm going to make this work. So maybe I can change the camera angle to my S5 here. And yeah, I'm using this... let's see here, yeah. I'm using the 8M Mini Pro ISO. So this is a great little switcher. If I press this button, you're going to see my face right here. And if I press this button here, I'm going to switch back to this camera, which I just plugged in. So it's a great system for live streaming, and it treats your cameras like one camera, so you just can switch between the images and yeah, basically go through your presentation in a very simple way. I've been using it at work too, getting a little bit into live streams, more of a presentation live streams. It's really fun to do. Yeah, but I can honestly recommend it for Zoom meetings, and maybe not go for the ISO model. The ISO model actually records all the external sources, so you can record like that camera, that camera. If you have more cameras, you can record them at the same time. So it's maybe not necessary for something like Zoom meetings and very easy live setups. This one also has the Ethernet connection, so you can use it by itself. You don't have to have your computer into the 8M. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm so happy you guys came. Really happy. I'm super excited right now. I thought that I was going to sit here just babbling on to myself and just having no one to talk to. But this is great, having all these questions from you guys. Oh my god. This is really, really... You're undone. Yeah, thanks, Harry. That's true, that's true. Gerald, Undone, I love that guy. He's such a really... such a good YouTuber. My god, his knowledge about cameras is otherworldly, I'd say. Yeah. But I guess for this time I'm done or undone, as Harry put it. And please don't stop. You can't leave us. Well, yeah, sorry, I can't, but at the same time I can. I need to be with my kid, with Alphonse. He was really sad that we didn't do a gaming stream. Maybe in the future we'll try to make some sort of gaming stream instead. But I really like this concept. It worked fine and I'm so happy I did it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I actually thought that I was going to wear this hat because my hair is not doing what I want today. So, but I managed to get through the stream without wearing my hat. What do you guys think? Should I wear it for the next stream, or was it good without the hats? It's quite cold in here too, so that's a reason why I should wear the hats. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm really grateful for having you guys here, and I'll see you in the next video. I mean, I hope you're here too for that one. We'll see, but you guys take care and have a really nice end of the weekend, and maybe you're free tomorrow. It's like some sort of red day, free day here in Finland, so definitely hats. Well, just for you, Henka, I'm going to finish off in the hats. And that's going to be all for me. I thank you so much for watching, and take care of your families, take care of yourself, and hopefully everyone's safe and sound and you don't get sick in these very disturbing times, perhaps. Good stream. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Take care. Bye, guys. Bye.